Welcome to the seventh episode of the What You Need to H2Know podcast, where we feature the people, places, and projects in Ontario's water community. I'm Michelle Grenier, the Executive Director of the Ontario Waterworks Association, and I'm excited to kick off today's journey by introducing you to a true industry leader. We're joined by Dillon Occleston, Chair of the OWWA Manufacturers and Associates Council, which we call the MAC, and Regional Market Lead at Greatario. With over 11 years of progressive experience in Canadian municipal water infrastructure and asset management, Dillon has built a career focused on forging strong design-build partnerships and delivering engineering solutions that support communities across Ontario. In this episode, we'll get to know more about his path into the industry, what led him to join OWWA, and how he stepped into a leadership role within the MAC. We'll also hear his thoughts on building strong industry relationships, his favorite OWWA events, and the value of volunteering. Plus, we'll explore what excites him most about the future of the water sector in Ontario. Let's dive in. So, welcome, Dillon.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining me today. I think we're going to have a good time.
It's strange to sit here and listen to you say all those nice things about me and not crack a smile, but I appreciate the introduction.
Well, you're very deserving of the what's the word I'm looking for? Of a grand description. So,
Thank you.
I'm going to turn it over to you now shortly, and I'm going to ask you, can you start off by telling us a bit about your background and how you got into the water industry?
Sure. So a little over 10 years ago, I started as a flag in the wind, I guess, or as a general contractor, some may put it. And I specialized in the contracts group. So by no real intention, I ended up working for a GC focused primarily in water and wastewater infrastructure. I think one of the more interesting elements to that role that led to a passion was the diversity of the work and the spread across the country and the markets, with some focus in First Nations work in Northern Ontario, Northern Manitoba, and projects in Saskatchewan, obviously Winnipeg and Ontario. Getting a look at water and wastewater infrastructure from a perspective within the GTA, where everything's nice and easy to access, to some of the northern, more remote communities where the challenges are both professional and you see some of the personal challenges that exist. I think that varying degree of perspective helped me kind of grow a passion for water. And so after I worked for a general contractor for a number of years, I've now worked for two specialty subcontractors since. And so my current role at Greatario is focused in water and wastewater storage. And so my role is primarily in Ontario, and I look after municipalities and industrial clients from the north to down in Windsor.
Oh, wow. That's really interesting scale of experience there. And can you tell us a bit more about what led to your current role at Greatario? And what does your day-to-day work there look like?
Yeah, so Greatario supports all provinces and territories across Canada, and we also have a branch that operates in the United States. So my role has grown out of a technical role into a market-led role where I'm supporting municipalities primarily on the front end of their asset management and life cycle planning for water and wastewater storage infrastructure. So partnering with municipalities, that would be from CAOs right down to supervisor of water and wastewater operations in current condition assessments and budget planning for the future, as well as assisting our design consultant world with a lot of their technical or in-depth questions, and of course supporting our general contractors focused in the infrastructure projects. On the back end here, we have a great group, large number of project managers, site superintendents, and downstream administrative staff that all support our projects. So looking after that bundle of fun specific to Ontario is how I spend my days.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it was so involved. I think, wow, talk about source to tap on the delivery of tanks there.
Yeah, I sleep well.
Yeah, well, that's good. Looking back, was there a particular moment or event that sparked your interest in water?
Yeah, I mean, I think it wasn't a consecutive spark from spark to interest, but I think tying back interests may be more important. So growing up in Ontario, and I won't age myself, but Walkerton did occur in my youth, and as a result, I think now playing a part in those projects, using some of the experiences and the understanding of the severity and impact that all of our roles in municipal water and on the wastewater side, infrastructure construction play, is important to reflect on, moments like that, or I guess particular events like that that are, in this case, events to be avoided, but understanding how severe, our day-to-day jobs can play potentially in downstream impacts on the broader public.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, it is remarkable how much our field has an impact on public health and safety. And so looking at how you've worked with utilities and manufacturers and consultants, like I guess that sense of responsibility, is that what makes this field so unique, or is that what you find rewarding in your work?
Yeah, well, that's a good way to pose a question. I guess from my perspective, when you pivot into all the arms from a design consultant and what matters to them, to an owner and what matters to them, to an operator and what matters to them, of course, all of those perspectives are slightly different, but having worked with each of them and tying each of their interests or considerations together, you realize we are all working generally towards one particular goal, but opinions, perspectives, and otherwise matter, and it helps influence how we can help one another by tying all those different perspectives together.
Yeah, I think in my experience working with you, you're definitely sort of that collaborative builder sort of style of approach. And so I think it's really interesting. I think your role really suits your personality.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah. So pivoting a bit to our next section of questions,
Okay,
and leading in more a little bit about your work with OWWA, and I didn't mention before, yeah, you were on our asset management committee as
that's
well
right.
before you took on the helm of the MAC. But can you tell our listeners a bit about how you first got involved with OWWA, and do you remember your first event with us?
Yes, I do. So because of the nature of my first or my two previous roles, or the roles prior to Greatario, let's say, I would have been a bystander at best or a window shopper at worst. And so I was kind of on the outside looking in. Now, what that meant is when I joined Greatario in 2020, my first event for the OWWA was virtual. And so I sat, and it is memorable to me, in a virtual booth, I guess, or exhibit, and held digital conversations with folks whom I had never met before, and with as much joy and interest as I could recall what it was like joining chat rooms in my my early youth and talking to maybe not strangers but passersby, and memorable for different reasons as much of COVID was. Yeah, that was my first event virtually. In person was in Niagara Falls the year afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny. We were just talking about that the other day, that some of the hospitality and networking events we had to have virtually
Yep.
during the pandemic, and yeah, it was. I'm glad we all survived.
Yeah, yeah. Those who at 4 o'clock would just pull the beer from behind their
Yeah,
their computer and put it up, and it led you to start understanding or wondering how long it was there in the workday prior to. No teasing, but
yeah,
yeah, many virtual happy hours
yeah.
and ways that we all had to find a way to get together. So no complaints. I would do it again if we did another virtual conference.
Well, that's good. Um, I guess so. Following your first in-person experience with us, what inspired you to take the next step and join a committee?
Sure. Yeah. Well, there was one particular individual who had made a recommendation, and I have followed this individual as who I consider to be a mentor, and that dates back to when I joined Water Wastewater in 2014. That's Linda Cook Weaver, and so she had made a recommendation that I start looking or pursuing different either committees or opportunities within either of the associations. And that reference at the time meant WEO or OWWA. So the first committee I joined was kind of an efficiency decision, and that was asset management. Because it is a dual serving committee, I threw my name in the hat with an opportunity to get exposed to both associations by virtue of that one committee. And so I am still a standing member. I suppose I'm past chair right now of that committee. And it was because of some of the socializing and networking at the OWWA conferences that I was then introduced to the MAC. Tom Orpana would have been one of the first kind of individuals I spoke to about that, and shortly thereafter applied accordingly.
Oh, that's cool. I think, definite shout out to Linda. She is
Definite
a
shout out to Linda.
staunch ambassador for our associations, and just picking up on what you shared. So for some of our listeners who may not know, both the asset management and climate change committees are joint committees between OWWA and WEO. So as you mentioned, for people who are looking to sort of do double duty, I think those are great places to start on their path into the association life.
Yeah, that's right. Double the fun.
Yeah, double the fun. I like that. So I think getting back to your work with the MAC, can you tell, so again, reminding people that's the Manufacturers and Associates Council. So it's a group made up of our service provider members, but can you tell our listeners a bit more about what the MAC does and what your role as chair looks like?
Sure. So I suppose without spouting off the technical definition, the MAC aims to serve as a conduit between the manufacturers and the service providers of the OWWA and the staff, I suppose, or the association generally. And so what we do as a conduit is open up opportunities for exposure, relevance, sponsorship, networking. I guess in fewer terms, all the social or networking elements of the OWWA are important, but with the primary goal of ensuring that the representation of our service providers is first and foremost, and finding ways to weave those primary, not concerns, but those primary functions and making sure that they're addressed and brought into conference level discussions, sponsorship level discussions of seminars, webinars, committee meetings, and otherwise, and certainly finding ways to socialize and network in a fun way. And so from that regard, we host different events like curling days and hockey games at the conference. Of course, our happy hour at the conference and the annual golf tournament.
Yeah. And I also shared that most of those events that you just mentioned raise money for Water for People as well, which is amazing. Yeah, huge contribution this year for our philanthropic activities.
Yep, that's right.
So on that note, with all of those, fun things to choose from, are there any MAC-led initiatives or moments that stand out to you as especially meaningful or like extra fun?
Yeah, sure. I'll preface this by saying it started with some nerves of caution. So walking from my hotel room in a button-up plaid Western shirt, a cowboy hat, and boots tucked in with a buckle, down the hallways, realizing that there's going to be people, indirectly seeing me, indirectly walking past me before I got to the conference hall in the middle of the day in Blue Mountain this year in advance of our Western Theme Pub Crawl. That was not what I was expecting to feel, a lot more judgment or otherwise. But that's what ultimately led to definitely the most fun. And I've heard so many similar opinions, and so many people have come forward and shared their enjoyment of that Western Theme Pub Crawl. So 2025 Blue Mountain Western Theme Pub Crawl held by the MAC was definitely one of the better parties, or sorry, not parties, but social gatherings
Yeah.
that we've enjoyed for sure.
Yeah, the feedback on the survey about the pub crawl was amazing, and I think people found that the opportunities to engage and that feeling of the having taken over the village at Blue Mountain during the
Yeah,
conference was really worthwhile. And
yeah,
so it'll be exciting to see. So for 2026, with our hospitality event being at the Niagara Parks Power Station,
that's
and
right.
so I think that will make another big splash there. So we're excited to have the MAC involved in planning for that event too.
That's right. Yeah, it was a decentralized, centralized party last year, whereas we took everybody but split them up three ways,
Yeah.
yet they all came together in a congregation downtown Blue Mountain. That was fun. This year at Next Wave, I think we're gonna have a lot more fun, but certainly one to top.
Yep. Well, it's always good to set our
Set the
set our
bar
aims
high.
high. Yeah,
That's right.
exactly. Okay, looking through to the next section of our chat here, thinking
Okay.
about contributions or opportunities and challenges. What project or achievement, either through your work with Greatario or at OWWA, are you most proud of?
Hmm. Well, I certainly won't bore you with details, but my role and Greatario's role, I suppose, in the drinking water world, and I suppose over my shoulder, Norwood is a good example for the town of Asphodel Norwood. Uh, there's a lot of great opportunities for design, build, delivery, and with the opportunity for so many different alternative delivery methods that are on the horizon for contracting and delivery of infrastructure products or projects in the water world now. There's a few very important drinking water projects that are, that stand out to me. I won't name them off. I'll use a cheater here. Norwood's a great one. It's made the wall as an example, but any opportunity where we can go into a community that has a need, whether it be a need hydraulically, a need for growth, or otherwise an improvement in the condition of that asset, to go in, devise a plan, design a project, deliver it, and cut the ribbon, start delivering clean drinking water is certainly some of the more special projects that I've led in my time.
Yeah, maybe digging into that a little bit deeper. I think, how do you think your work has made an impact, and whether it's one of those examples you already gave, or if it's something else, either, within Greatario or
Hmm.
OWWA, within the industry, or on your peers?
Yeah, sure. Um, I mean, I'm a big fan, or I suppose proponent of continuous improvement. And traditionally, a lot of design can end up seeming to be copy and paste, but it's very progressive in nature, and driving continuous improvement in projects is important. So I think being the standard for evolving our standard of delivery has been important for our peers and just the level of service that we offer. But yeah, I would say overall the impact is probably summarized in megaliters of drinking water that I've delivered over my career now to municipalities in Ontario. And I can't quantify that, but that generally is kind of my goal, is to continue drinking or continue delivering those drinking water liters.
Wow. Yeah, that's really awesome.
Thanks.
Um, on the flip side, I think I'd like to ask you if you can share something about a challenge you've faced in your career so far and how you overcame that.
Hmm. Yeah, I think depending on how many of my performance reviews you might have read, I don't know if that's any of them, um, but I have an aptitude, or at least a drive to always push ahead, and I think a lot of the challenges I receive are really good constructive feedback on calibrating and slowing down, and ensuring that it's not one step forward, two back. And so they're not challenges that I've overcome, but when you're filled with either passion or energy for any one thing, it can be tough to either hear or be regarded as maybe a little bit too optimistic or otherwise. And certainly not a challenge to overcome, but the biggest challenge would be recognizing the right and then understanding how to recalibrate and
Yeah.
orient yourself accordingly.
I think I like your answer in that
Hmm.
being a good receiver of constructive feedback is such an important skill, right, in terms of personal growth and professional development. And
Yeah,
it's not always easy to understand that we have to modulate our expectations
that's right. That's right.
and how
And
much of
each of
ourselves
us
we put out into the world.
and each of us are better or worse at that, depending on your fabric. But that's correct. And
Yeah.
as you can understand, that's a challenge for me sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I think we're all better for it
That's right.
at some point. And I guess
That's
the
right.
last question in this section I have for you is, what's one thing you've learned from your time in OWWA that's shaped your personal or professional growth?
Hmm. Um, well, we all play a part. Okay, so I have an interesting, I guess, answer for you. So because my involvement in the OWWA has generally been what I would consider like, throw yourself at it and let's see where you kind of, if it sticks, where you end up or otherwise how you can help. And what occurred to me is that I generally felt as if I was following kind of the wave of the OWWA. And I'll just use the conference as an example. If there are events going on and you're wanting to attend or feel included or network or throw yourself out there, I would feel like I were following those items. And it wasn't until my first few conferences that um, I would have people approaching me and asking me about, best ways and what might be going on or where they could XYZ. And it at that point occurred to me, we're all just as much a follower as we might want to be a leader, and you don't realize the part you might play in the fabric or overall, um, association network, and we all play that part. And so by attending and volunteering and engaging the OWWA in any level or the association in any level, um, creates kind of the one side of the balance, which is you're part of the kind of the support, but that might transfer and all of a sudden you find yourself in a leadership role and you don't even realize it and folks are asking you. So we all play that role, big or small, and I think that overall community is kind of really enjoyable to see as a result.
Yeah. Oh, I appreciate that insight. I think I hope that encourages other people to come to the conference too and get
I
involved.
kind of meant it
Yeah.
in that way as well. It's interesting how small of an effort, like, hey, showing up, attending, and maybe networking a little bit helps others do the same. And the goal, of course, is to encourage that open, kind of flat experience for all association members, new and tenured.
Yeah. Well, thinking about your role, going back to your role with the MAC,
Sure.
it's what are the goals that you're working to set for the committee over the next year?
Yeah. So we've had some conversations around. And this is a little bit more not governance but organizational structure about subcommittee leads. And so the way that we deliver is it's not time tested and true, but there's a boilerplate for how we engage the association, and I described the conduit of all the activities that we perform. But um, opening up some more leadership roles for individual committee members and engaging, I guess, what we're calling like a subcommittee structure will certainly help, I think, with different champions for each of the different silos or um, I guess subcommittees that we're going to be working on. So that could include events or sponsorships, awards or otherwise, and giving different individuals, more of a baton to hold or a baton to hold higher.
Oh, I think that's a great idea. It sounds like
Mhm.
you certainly have enough going on. And many hands make light work. So
That's
I
right.
think that'll be great.
That's right.
So we talked a little bit about the party, or I should say, sorry, the hospitality event at the conference,
That's right.
the networking.
That's right.
Whether it's that one or whether it's something else, are there any upcoming initiatives, either through the MAC or Greatario, that you're especially excited about?
Well, I'm not going to advertise on your behalf because I think Next Wave is the curation of you and many other leads across the country, but I am incredibly excited to see, especially after the evolution of post-COVID ACE, the joint conference that we held, and now the creation of Next Wave. I think the nuance to what we're looking to deliver as a conference is not being yet highlighted, and I can't wait to continue communicating and sharing with everybody just this fresh perspective and new approach to the delivery of our conference. And it is the Next Wave, which I know is a bit of a play on words for different reasons, but all of the elements that are going to make up this new conference delivery are going to be really, really interesting to share with everybody over the year to come.
Well, thank you for that shout out, because we are also very excited about Next Wave and our partnership with the other Canadian sections on delivering this new event.
Right.
So I guess maybe building on that, how would you see, if you had your choice, if
Yep.
you were me, how
Ooh.
would you see the OWWA evolving in the next 5 years? And so you
Ah.
don't have to be me, but
Yep.
if you weren't me, what role would you want to play in that growth?
Certainly. Well, my role, as you know, is a perspective of a junior associate member or a 1 to 5 year individual. Just about to graduate my YP status, but I'll always hold that status and it won't change. The I don't think the evolution will vary too much from what a lot of us see in our professional evolution right now. And what I mean is that the world is becoming more digital, so we're seeing a lot more of the OWWA services, whether they be information or otherwise, delivered virtually. Um, but the collaboration and the connection and that evolution of some of the younger members, right from the student chapters we're seeing through to the YPs and some of the younger leaders that we're seeing either at Leaders Day, popping up on committees or otherwise. I think the evolution of the OWWA over the next 5 years marries what in the professional world we're seeing a bit as well as a little bit of a gap in some of the more tenured group. That balloon is maybe starting to fade, and we want to make sure that we're engaging and really encouraging and a space for younger leaders to come up and grow in our association.
I think, yeah, I think that's going to be key to our sustainability for sure. And
Correct.
on that note, then I'd say, what advice would you give to someone new in the industry or who's thinking about getting involved with OWWA?
So it's not easy for everybody, myself included, to just throw yourself out there, and I mean it. But you've probably heard me say it. I don't know where that passion or interest falls deep down to go looking for it. But if you in any way are interested in like, hey, what makes up the fabric and the working matrix of the OWWA from the conferences, to the conference planning, to the committees, to the role out in the training or certification world, any level of interest, regardless of your level in the association, is interest, and you just have to throw yourself out there. So I have always relied on asking upwards, and I'm more than happy to raise my hand and be that person to anybody who wants to ask. Come ask me, and I'm sure I can point you in a direction that you'll at least find something to grab onto.
Well, there you go. So anybody who's coming to their first OWWA conference this year, just find Dillon.
Yeah, I can put my email right here, maybe, or something like
Yeah,
that.
I'll see if we can Photoshop that in. Yeah,
Yeah, I
put it in
certainly
the show
can.
notes.
That's
Yeah,
right. Yeah, that's right.
yeah. Oh, that's great. Well, thanks for that, Dillon.
Yeah, you're
And
welcome.
okay, the last little rapid fire, our sort of fun get to know Dillon
Okay.
questions
Okay.
is what's something most people don't know about you?
Um, yeah,
Which is
so I
hard
don't
for
think,
you, I think, because everybody knows you.
well, you know what? Yeah, we're not searching for dirty laundry here.
No,
Something
no.
people don't know about me. So, I think generally I come off with extroverted tendencies, but you know what? Founded in a lot of that, and I'm trying to backfill any of my other questions around how I was engaged. and how everyone should be is some level of social anxiety. So I have extroversion probably with a battery, and not a lot of people expect that. They generally say, like they expect that I'm always very kind of outgoing. But I think you might not realize that it does come with a battery, and all batteries need to be recharged from time to time.
Yeah, that's fair. I think
Yeah,
I feel the same way.
yeah.
Um, okay, next question I have for you is, what's the most unconventional piece of advice you've received in your career?
The most unconventional piece of advice I've received in my career. I I don't want to give it to anyone particular because I think Michael Scott or Michael Jordan are debating over it. But you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and it's definitely not unconventional. But for certain, as soon as you have the inkling to do anything, and it doesn't translate well to unconventional because I think it's very conventional. But as soon as you have that interest or that spark, you need to follow it, and I think timeliness is most important there. Go after it right away. So either book that flight or write that email.
Yeah,
but you have to pull the trigger.
yeah, I like that. And last but not least, what's a podcast, book, or show you'd recommend to fellow water professionals?
You added water professionals on the end, and so it might not be the most segmented, but without a doubt on repeat or at least on notification is Freakonomics. And Stephen Levitt, huge Freakonomics fan, and I have that all over my Spotify, all of the historic episodes or otherwise. And I love that the most fun you can play with Freakonomics is read the title of the podcast and try to guess what the podcast is about.
Oh,
Because generally you think there's synergy and there's traditionally not. Really enjoyable and great for either coffee breaks or long car rides.
oh, that's awesome. Okay, I'll
Yeah,
have to check it out. We'll
Freakonomics.
link to that in our notes too.
Perfect.
Well, Dylan, that's all the questions I have. And I want to say thanks again for taking the time to chat with me today. It's always a pleasure getting to spend some time with you, and I hope that our listeners
Thank
have
you.
also enjoyed learning about your career journey and then also your adventures with OWWA.
Thank you very much. Hopefully, anybody who did stay till the end, we figure out how to put my contact email there.
Yep.
I mean it, and the theme of this chat has been pretty clear. Get yourself out there, and if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to stand as an ambassador to anybody looking to get involved.
Well, that's awesome. And the link to the volunteer application is also on the OWWA website if you click on the volunteer. And if you are looking for more information about our upcoming conference and trade show next May, which is called Next Wave, you can also find that on the OWWA website. So thanks again, and we'll chat soon.
Thank you very much. Take care.